Hey y'all, I'm Chris, owner of Wellness Movement, formerly known as Tyler Wellness Center, and today I want to discuss 4 often overlooked causes of acne, eczema, and psoriasis. And then I want to present a case study of my wife, actually, who we reversed her chronic acne with the help of a stool test. A little bit more about myself. I got my bachelor's in human biology in 2008 from Logan University. Then went on to get my doctor of chiropractic from Logan University in 2010. Since then, I focused a lot of my continuing education on courses like interpreting functional blood chemistry, functional neurology, functional endocrinology, and mastering the thyroid. So I really have a passion for helping people with chronic health issues, mainly because my wife, mother, and father all deal with their own, being diabetes and Hashimoto's autoimmune thyroiditis. So today we're talking about skin conditions, acne, eczema, and psoriasis, and the link between skin and gut health. So let's dive in. One of the 4 causes, one of the top causes, is nutrient deficiencies. So maybe it's B vitamins, maybe it's vitamin D. I often talk to people and they're taking B complex vitamins in high doses, but yet they still test low for B vitamins. Well, how is that? The simple explanation is that we don't always digest and absorb all the nutrients we take in. If we have gut issues or gut imbalances, creating inflammation and leaky gut, oftentimes we're not going to absorb nutrients like we should. So, you are what you eat is only partially true. More importantly, you are what you digest. Number 2, cause of disease or cause of skin issues is toxins. So excess toxins are everywhere. Cleaning supplies, in our food, stuff that we eat every single day is loaded with chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, fungicides, especially glyphosate. This is being linked. It was just in the news where a former employee of Monsanto just won almost $290 million court case because they proved that the glyphosate that he sprayed on a daily basis actually caused his cancer. So we're eating this and ingesting these things all the time, creating more and more inflammation. Stress, one that I can't speak about enough. Oftentimes I find when people aren't progressing as well as I think they should on one of my wellness programs, we often have to have deeper discussions about their stress level. Maybe it's a bad relationship. Maybe it's a toxic job or job environment where it's a job they dislike or a boss that they can't stand, creating lots of stress. This raises cortisol levels and really weakens our immune system and just makes us not feel as well as we should. And then infections and immune imbalances is a huge underlying, often overlooked cause of disease and dysfunction. This one we're going to talk a little bit more about specifically today. So imbalances in the immune system and infections. How do we find these? How do we know that they're there? There's always symptoms and you can try to guess, but I prefer to actually test. So, like I said, talking about my wife's stool test, she's given me the okay to do this, but we ran a stool on her about 5 months ago and some things popped up. We actually found a couple parasites in her stool, indicated here. There was a bacteria called Citrobacter that is shown in the research to be a potential autoimmune trigger. So what that means is that research now is figuring out that certain bacteria and pathogens actually are associated with certain autoimmune diseases. It doesn't mean that if you have the bacteria, you're guaranteed to have the autoimmune condition, but there's definitely a correlation there. We also found in regards to her intestinal health that she was high in beta-glucuronidase. This is typically elevated when there's excess toxins in the gut. Okay, so excess toxins in the gut. And then her immune system, her secretory IgA, was actually pretty low. So her immune system was weakened, more than likely because of the high toxins shown by the beta-glucuronidase, and then also having excess bacteria, bacterial overgrowth, and a couple parasites in her stool. All right, so what do we do? When we find things like this, thankfully this test is called a GI map. It is one of the highest quality tests out there, and one of the tests that I do the most frequently to get more information about how well or how healthy somebody's gut and microbiome is. Okay, this is one of the only stool tests that actually analyzes your stool on a DNA level. Okay, instead of the old school method of looking at a stool through the microscope and relying on human error. Oftentimes we get a lot of error in that method. We have a DNA analysis, and this GI map is excellent for that. So you get a poop test, right? Now what? So we have some information, we have some data, and this is a perfect segue into, you can have tests run. And oftentimes I talk to people, they've been to every specialist in the area, whether it's immune issues, hormone imbalances, digestive issues, blood sugar imbalances, and they've seen lots of doctors and had lots of tests run. But if you're only able to run minimal at best testing due to insurance, you can only get so much good information from that. Thankfully, I'm able to order more detailed testing because I'm not constrained by insurance. I'm going to order what's best for the individual, and so that's why I like the GI map. So once you do the poop test, what's next? You have to fix the leaky gut. Okay, oftentimes we find that leaky gut's part of the problem. Basically, leaky gut is when you eat inflammatory foods like gluten and dairy often, and then the glyphosate that's on almost all of our food, it creates a leaky gut barrier, allowing toxins and bacteria and pathogens to go from the digestive system into the bloodstream, which creates systemic inflammation. You have to eliminate inflammatory foods and give specific nutrients to help your gut lining actually heal back up and close up so that no more inflammation is getting through. Number two, is eliminate inflammatory foods. As I kind of mentioned, you've got to improve what you're eating, clean up what you're eating, get rid of the toxic food and junk that you're putting in your body that's literally creating a bad gut environment. You have to de-stress your life. You have to figure out how to deal with your stresses. If it's a terrible job that you can't stand, oftentimes the best thing is going to be to look for another job. Okay, if you have a boss that you can't stand, or you're in a toxic relationship, you can't keep beating your head against the wall. You have to sometimes just remove yourself and go on, and you will definitely feel better from it. Yoga is an awesome exercise or practice to do to really help your body calm and just rebalance. Okay, so very important if you've had a stressful day to balance that with some stress relieving activities like reading, maybe cooking for some people, stress relieving, just going on a walk, exercising, yoga. Those are all excellent ways to de-stress. When we have high stress levels, our cortisol is higher. That creates more inflammation, more hormone imbalance, and it's very, very difficult to get healthy when we have high cortisol and high stress. You have to address the infections and the bacterial overgrowth that's often found in stool testing. Okay, I can't tell you how many times I've done a stool test, and most often we find some kind of bacterial imbalance or bacterial overgrowth. There should be a healthy balance between the good and bad bacteria in the gut. We don't want to get rid of all the bacteria like an antibiotic would. We just want to have a healthy balance. And so this GI map stool test is an excellent way for us to evaluate that and really get a pulse and an idea of what's going on in that gut environment. Okay. And then you have to oftentimes replenish the healthy gut bugs. So that's where prebiotics and probiotics come in. I will say too, pro tip, sometimes if you just start taking probiotics, you may notice your symptoms, your GI symptoms, your gut symptoms, or even skin symptoms get worse. But if you address the overgrowth or whatever's found on the stool test, you have to address that first, and then start replenishing with healthy probiotics. And oftentimes your symptoms are going to dramatically improve. So again, skin is directly related to what's going on in the gut. Oftentimes, your stress levels raise cortisol, it increases inflammation and creates a bad gut environment, and oftentimes skin symptoms. So by addressing the gut and really getting that environment healthy and having the right amount of healthy bacteria in your gut, you can often decrease inflammation, balance hormones much better, lower blood sugar levels, and that's only going to help skin conditions. So in regards to like eczema, psoriasis, acne, if you have a leaky gut and you have you're taking in inflammatory foods and eating too much sugar and gluten and dairy, and you have bacterial imbalances in your gut, you're not going to improve these conditions until you address that underlying root problem. Okay, our main thinking is often to cover it up literally with topical ointments and creams, and sometimes this helps, but to really fix the issue, to really get to the root of the problem, oftentimes we have to correct what's going on in the gut. All right, so I have a special offer for you for tuning in today. If you'd like to find out if you qualify for care, please visit my website, drchrisjones.com. There is a green button on the main page. It says begin your path to wellness. You can click that, fill out the online extensive health questionnaire. It's going to submit, and then you'll be prompted to schedule your free discovery call with me, where we can review that online form and discuss whether or not you're a good candidate for care. So if you know of somebody that suffers from chronic skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, or acne, maybe they just have terrible gut issues and can't quite figure it out, and they're tired of taking more and more pills and medication, please tag or share this with them, and just let them know that there's definitely another option. Okay, so I appreciate you watching. Have a great day.